Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
And hello and welcome to On the Bench, episode 138, being brought to you, well, not quite live, but anyway, being brought to you from the studio. And in the studio with me, I have Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day Julian, g'day listeners.
And Julian.
Good morning.
How are we all?
Good, very good.
Excellent. Got some news?
News.
Yes. What have you got? What's been happening? What's been rocking your world? What have you been spending money on?
What have I been spending money on? Not too much, actually. Just looking at things to spend money on, like. As we all know, the Shizuoka hobby show is in progress.
I want to go to that. So bad.
I haven't seen. I don't think all of the releases have been. I think, like some of them stagger them over the course of the entire weekend or whatever it is.
Yes.
So not everything's out at the moment. And one thing I did see is a planned release. I don't think it's just yet, but Tamiya are going to be releasing a version of the Datsun 240Z Street Custom version, which is the one with the different wheels.
Right.
More or less the same kit, but it's different wheels. It's like modern wheels instead of the
standard
the skinny 1970-ish wheels.
Yep.
Makes them look like bicycle wheels when you compare.
And that's something that excites you?
Maybe. I'm still waiting for them to bring out a version that doesn't have that duckbill nose on it, the G nose.
Ah, right, yeah.
That's what I'm mostly waiting for. Or at least someone to bring out an aftermarket front bumper so that I can circumvent it with my current kit.
Right.
That's why I haven't built it just yet. I'm waiting and seeing.
Waiting for the aftermarket to catch up.
Yeah, so yes. I haven't paid too much attention to Shizuoka because, there's a lot of irrelevant stuff to me. Like you look at Tamiya's lineup, and a lot of it is remote control cars and things.
Oh, right, yeah.
That I don't care about.
Yep, me too.
Yeah.
So have they released any kits, Tamiya?
Like,
no. Not yet.
I'm not sure just yet, but I would expect 2 or 3, maybe.
Well, we know the new Lightning's coming out soon.
Yes, that's another. Yeah,
which looks as good as the F model, FH.
Yes, except it'll be a piece of plastic worth putting some metallizer on.
Mind you, I saw a preview of the decal sheet. Geez, they've done Richard Bong's Marge artwork really well.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Oh, cool.
Almost like a complete proper photograph.
Huh. But typical to me are sort of thick decals.
I would say they'd be thick decals. So there'd be very, very, very good chance they'd be thick decals.
Well, we'll just have to see how that goes, won't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't make it for us because, if you wanted to do a really good job, you would paint it yourself, right?
I actually think it was probably a big photograph they plastered on the side of the aircraft on the actual thing because it's so well rendered that it doesn't look like artwork. It looks like a proper photograph.
You don't think that thing would tear off? I mean, all it takes, because as we now as you know, there's stones and dust and things will get kicked up onto the plane.
Yep.
If that can tear off paint, it'll tear off a poster.
Yeah. Yeah, that or someone was
and once there's a few
really talented with their artwork.
And once you got a few nicks in it, a few little holes, the wind will take care of the rest.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, it'll just flap off.
Yeah.
It might have been a big sticker. Who knows? I know that. Well, we all know that the big flying tigers they were stickers. The tigers they stuck on the side of the P40s.
Oh, were they really?
Yeah, they were big stickers that were sent down from Disney.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Learn something every day.
I remember there was a few, about 10 years ago, someone was selling one of the stickers on eBay.
Oh, but an original one?
An original one, yeah.
Oh, that would have gone for a...
That would have gone for a...
lot of
I had a
money.
look at it and looked at the prices and thought, oh, I'd love that. But I just do not physically have that amount of money on me.
Yeah.
Because that'd be
cool.
something that'd be really cool to have.
Yeah.
So someone would have paid big dollars for that. Thousands.
Absolutely.
Absolute thousands, I'd say, for original sticker.
For sure. What else is news?
I'm thinking of maybe getting a 3D printer.
Ooh!
Dum, dum, dum.
Let me get out my list of stuff that I want you to print for me then.
No.
That's why.
You can take your list and you can put it back in your pocket.
Oh.
Look, the thing is, right, I don't know anyone who has a 3D printer here,
Neither do I.
right?
I do.
Because everyone's waiting for that one guy to go buy one. And then they're going to say, oh, do you want to print me this?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you become so popular.
Yeah, in a bad way.
In a bad way, yeah.
Because I've really been thinking about this. I don't want people rushing at me to ask for prints.
Yeah.
But let's back up a sec. So what sort of print are you thinking of getting?
Probably the Frozen Sonic 8K, one of those ones.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think there's any need for quality past that I care about.
Yeah.
So, like, that's what I've been waiting for. That's why I didn't jump in earlier. It's because I didn't want to end up with a obsolete printer in 2 years' time, kind of thing.
Yep.
And then so what I'm most concerned about is because our model club has also been thinking about maybe buying a 3D printer.
We had been, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously there's some issues with that. Like one of them is not everyone wants or would make use of it. So it's like everyone's pool of money goes to a project that only a couple of people would be able to take advantage of, and then the one person who gets to keep it has to deal with all the cleaning and stuff.
And also the print orders and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yep.
And there's a lot more involved. Like people think it's like magic, where you just like, boop, you just press a button and out pops like minis. But no, you have to run these things, preferably in your garage or something, or at least a fairly like it's similar to an airbrush. There's fumes and things that you probably don't want in your house.
Yeah.
I see Will Patterson. He had a
Bit of a disaster.
He had a big blob of resin at the bottom of his printer. It just didn't work.
It didn't look nice, like friendly to clean up.
No.
No.
I mean, like, that's... And, like, the way I've been sort of thinking about it is that it's kind of like owning an airbrush, Like, it represents a level of investment into the hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you could just be the guy who just brush paints 72nd scale Spitfires all day, Maybe you don't want to go the whole hog and buy an airbrush. There's nothing wrong with that. But then, should you be going, oh, but I want the airbrush, but I don't want to have to pay for the airbrush. So I'll wait till someone else has one, and then I'll go over and I'll ask them if I can use their airbrush.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, the thing that really interests me about 3D printing is, all the rocket subjects that I can print off and build, and you can't get them at the moment in styrene and in the scale that I want. So I find that particularly exciting. And science fiction subjects as well. A lot of them are all sort of 3D printing files that are available in the Thingiverse and all that.
Yeah, and especially like if you're into car models, there's quite a bit out there to support your interests.
Yep.
Mechanical wise, like I was looking at because one of the things I don't like about my Datsun 240Z kit is that it's got like the old like stock air filter, the thing that looks a bit like on like a serving plate.
Oh, the big round air cleaner.
It's not it's the equivalent of, but it's not round. It's like oval shaped with a tube out the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's a straight 6.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would actually like to put on is like a triple
Weber's.
similar to. I don't think the Japanese used Weber's necessarily. They used
They would have used a copy of the Weber.
something that starts with a Z, I think. In any case, there's those ones where you got triples because it's like 2%, blah blah blah. And if you can 3D print those, cool. You can just, print off 3, stick them on with trumpets, and it looks really cool,
Yep.
But if you want to buy them, right, you have to buy them from someone who's got them in stock.
Yes.
And they've 3D printed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've looked. I think they're like something like €6 from Spain, and they sell them 2 per packet.
Oh, so you get an extra one that you don't need.
I would get an extra one that I don't need because I'd have to buy 2 packets.
Yeah, I found that with some of my ultracast. Like I'm a fan of ultracast seats for aircraft because they come with the seat belts already moulded in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're just marvellous. They look fantastic. But yeah, I remember buying some for me Key 84, and you get 2. It's like, well, what am I going to do with the second one? I don't have a second Key 84.
Yeah.
So now I've got a spare seat.
So now you paid for 2.
Mm.
You only really intend to use 1.
One, yeah.
And that's how they
Get you into
double their
kit.
profits.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it's useful if you ever make another one,
Mm.
but otherwise, you kind of they're just doubling their profits in that sense.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, maybe they're actually just pricing it for the price of 1, and they're just giving you an extra one for free because they're nice guys. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Well, I'm particularly interested in the fact that you are considering getting one, and even more so that I've been hesitating sort of pulling the trigger on one myself. Well,
Well, like I said, it's another level of investment because
yeah,
I mean, most people would consider a $500 airbrush an expensive airbrush.
yeah. But see, for me, I mean,
And this is double that.
Yeah, it'd pay for itself within about 3 or 4 prints in regards to the type of models I could get. So, and in the scale that I want. So,
Well,
for me, the investment is sort of there, and then
Well, it can give you access to a whole bunch of models that you wouldn't otherwise be able to make.
Yeah, excuse me. You always then you run into that problem. Like I know of a few people that have bought printers, and now they don't do any modelling at all.
with this print.
They just print.
Yeah.
They've just gotten hooked in the printing bug, and all they do is they spend their time printing.
Yeah, that's a bit
Rather than
weird.
actually
I
doing
find
it.
that a bit weird because, I mean, if I was that kind of person, I would just have like grey figures all over the place anyway, right? But I don't.
No.
I don't understand. I mean, just paint it.
Yeah. Look, I'd have one in a flash, but at the moment, I just don't have the physical space to put one anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to have to make some space. I'm thinking of just making up some kind of like trolley kind of thing to sit it on or something.
Mm-hmm.
I've probably got the space, but I've got my funds aren't so necessarily ready because they're all diverted, ready for 2 big model shows we've got coming up. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm really keen to if you do pull the trigger, and I'm really keen to go and have a look at it once you've sort of got it all set up and everything.
I've bought 3D, sets of 3D models because I've actually gone. You know what? That's only $15, and I want to make that specifically.
Yep.
And so I've pulled the trigger on them with the idea that probably at some point down the line I will have a 3D printer. But now I'm in a position where I'm like, well, now's probably the time to do that.
Yeah.
Food for thought.
Food for thought.
Food for thought.
indeed.
All right. Yes, definitely.
All right, well, let's have a quick break and have a listen from our major sponsor, SMS Paints, and we'll come back and we're going to be talking to Lincoln Wright, which is going to be a very exciting conversation. So we'll be back very shortly. The Scale Model Supply. Certified Australian made, the Scale Model Supply has a comprehensive range of premium acrylic lacquer paints that have been specifically developed to cater to the scale modeler. Designed to use straight from the bottle, SMS paints have taken all the guesswork out of airbrushing. Simply shake, pour and spray for a fast drying and extremely durable result. But wait, there's more. SMS have just released the new water-based range, Infinite Colour. It is the ideal paint for anyone who is into miniature painting. And with 48 colours that can be mixed to create any colour you want, the possibilities are, well, infinite. The ever-growing range of SMS paints will suit all types of model builders, be it military, aircraft, train, car, science fiction, or even Gunpla. SMS paints will have a colour to suit you. Available now through selected stockists worldwide and online at www.scalemodeler.com.au. Okay, and we'd like to welcome to the show Lincoln Wright, who's here to talk about his fantastic new publication, which is called Something About Something.
Good on
That's
you.
exactly it. And this is where I think I say thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me and not caring enough to study the name of my new book, which I can't remember either.
Well, there you go. Is
You
it
guys are
called
great.
MK44 book? How's that sound? No, that's
Yeah,
not,
but
that do?
I should be able to throw in my really polished sales pitch here, but see that is the funny thing too, though, because you kind of work on it with a code name whilst it's in production, right?
Yeah.
Not that anyone cares, the reality, right? But so once you actually have the proper name for it, you don't use it either. So the title has a bit of a funny story because it's given to me by one of my overlords. You know how life is. You've always got various people who control what you do.
Yeah, like the wife.
Exactly. So there's basically, I've got the property owner and then there's my wife. And of course, the wife rules all.
Yes.
And I got away with that because she's not in the room right now. So the proper title is, it's the MA.K Lincoln Report, Volume 1. And no, I'm not that self-centered that I would choose that. But the boss bloke who owns it, Yokoyama-san, he suggested that. I think possibly to distance himself from it as much as possible.
Well, before we get into this fantastic new publication, let's perhaps have a quick who the heck is Link, because there might be some people who are listening in who have never heard of you before, which I find that quite amazing and astounding. But nonetheless, there are people out there.
Oh, no, nobody knows me. I work in a small room in the dark. I'm occasionally let out on a leash. It's all part of the agreement I have with the government.
So who is Link? Where do you come from? What do you do? And why are you here?
Oh, man. Gosh, thank you, Dave. That's actually a really good question now, because since we've spoken, I've been on your show a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like I know you guys better and better each time. And I feel more Aussie each time too.
Good.
I don't know if you can hear it changes in the accent, but I know you talk to a lot of people, it's hard to say. So I'm this random Aussie bloke. I went to Japan when I was quite young, and I spent like quite a few formative years, we could call them. So getting into mischief, thankfully before any of it was captured on the internet. So none of that is now provable. I ended up getting into a position where I could work with Japanese sci-fi properties. And I've moved the family back here for educating the child. That was one of the big reasons for that. And I've been running my own thing for about 5 years now and have had my first 2 English publications come out. If you see, I think they're pretty ubiquitous, I guess. See, and I used a big word there, ubiquitous, because
I'm impressed.
an
I'm impressed.
Yeah, right? Just let me look that up for a quick sec. You've seen those FAQ titles?
Yes.
Yeah, so I actually did one of them for the sci-fi one that came out last year. And it's I think it was the first one that was done by someone who pretends to be an English speaker first.
Mm.
So that was the thing. And then I've moved along due to unemployment and published my own. I got in touch with the guys and I've been able to bring this one out through publishing it, an official Maschinenkrieger title in English, the first of its kind.
Well, this was murder because we last spoke to you just prior to the pandemic sort of locking us all away. So it's been a good 2 years since we last spoke, which which blows my mind. And then you were sort of talking then about your desire to sort of do your own sort of line of publications, and obviously it's taking 2 years to sort of come to fruition.
Yes. You'd think the lockdowns would help. Well, I don't know. I wonder what life would have been without them, right? So the last time we spoke, I was over-promising and under-delivering probably, saying, yeah, I got these books, I got all these things happening. So it's really wonderful to be able to catch up and say, hey, I actually did that BS that I promised. That actually happened. So yeah, that's actually really cool to talk before and after.
Yeah, fantastic. And the amazing thing too is Machine Krieger. I don't know what it is. It seems to have. There's been a rise in popularity, I guess, is what I'm sort of aiming at. A lot of people seem to be going, "Hey, this stuff's really cool," and they're only just sort of catching on to it. And you look at forums now, or not forums. I mean, hardly anybody goes to forums anymore. You look at social media and all that, and there's so many more pictures of Machine Krieger stuff popping up. So it's almost like you sort of had this premonition 2 years ago, hey, there's going to be an upsurge in Machine Krieger, and the book seems to have come out at the most perfect time. You're just sort of catching the wave almost.
I want to believe and stop crying on my big pillow that is the way it's happened. But I got to speak with I got an external opinion viewpoint the other day, which was absolutely fascinating to me because. I mean, with the podcast, you probably have a lot more direct feedback with folks.
Yeah.
Because they can tell you if something's no good really quick, right? The internet's good like that.
Yep, it is.
Right? But so I think a lot of that was actually sci-fi FAQ. And so FAQ sci-fi, again, that's another book I don't know the title of, even though it has my little name on the bottom of the cover. So... well, because the Spanish folks call it sci-fi as well. FAQ, sci-fi. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
So the gentleman, can I name and shame? Because he's a great bloke.
Of course you can. Yeah, name and shame, go for it. I'm the one who'll get sued, so yeah, knock yourself out.
Right. It's so Ivan. Ivan's got multiple names. Ivan, who also does some slots on Plastic Posse podcast.
Yeah, from the UK.
Yeah. That's him, Ivan in the UK. What a lovely bloke he is.
Oh, yeah, he is. Not bad for an Englishman.
He must have been behaving especially well for me to get that wrong opinion, right? He was able to give me, well, at least his point of view, which to me is external and therefore accurate, because it's not what I'm seeing. And he said that was the standout from sci-fi FAQ sci-fi was the Machine and Krieger content, which is hilarious because the owner of the business was, I can't say he was unhappy with it, but he got to a point where he was Lincoln, no more the MA.K. You must put the other sci-fi in your books. I'm like, mate, you asked me to do a book. I'm going to put this crap in because I got a lot of it sitting around. But and what I tried to do with that one though was bring in people who could actually be more value to the standard. I call them standard or the better known properties. Like Bandai Star Wars. The Gundam stuff. There's a bunch of other things we could throw in there, but I wanted to try to stick with the ones that I might be able to bring some value to. Having worked with the property for 15, I got to keep updating this. This is the sad thing about real life, isn't it? That even your old man stories have to be updated.
Yes.
For 17 years now or something. So, So that's what the feedback was from Ivan. He said, we've seen a lot of the other stuff. We've made some of the other stuff over the years, but this stuff just blew us away. Plus, that book, I did work hard to try to show it in a way that would click for not sci-fi folks so much as highly, not highly experienced, but how do I want to say that? But folks who like other forms of modeling, AFV, air, maybe not ships, but just kidding, ships, guys. Just kidding. I love the ships. If only I had more time to do sci-fi ships, that could be a bunch of fun. But
they take up a lot of time.
Yeah, and the old man jokes with the eyes. When the box says 1/700 scale, just no.
Yeah, way too
just no. No, that even makes Braille scale look huge, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, they so. I wanted to show them in a way that would make sense for my mates who make AFV and air models as well. and show them that, yeah, you can. You've basically been cross-training for years to be an expert at this right off the bat. I think that's helped click with some folks. So I'd like to think that it's riding a wave there, Dave. But
yeah,
I would also, I could go so bold as to say that I might have helped push that wave along a little bit too. You can smack me down now.
No.
I shouldn't be saying that, but of course it's all me. I'm kidding.
Well, I'd also like to call attention to, like, say, the fact that everyone was stuck at home for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And, when you're at home, people spend a lot of time on the social medias.
Yeah.
And, your stuff is prime for that. You can throw it up on Instagram and people move it around and blah, blah, blah.
Hey, thanks. So you're saying, what I got out of that, you're saying that you actually saw my spam on various social media accounts.
I definitely saw it floating around Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought I could get a laugh with the spam comment.
I mean,
it wasn't good enough.
If I was looking at it objectively, I mean,
yes.
It's like the kind of Maschinen Krieger kind of stuff is kind of like a cross between sci-fi, armor, and figures, right?
Sure.
It's very multidisciplined, and you can tick a lot of. There's enough crossover there that you can pull from, like, multiple avenues. Yeah, multiple genres.
Yeah. And I think so, and I've found that to be really fun and useful for a bunch of modeling trends because, we all have a checkered past with modeling, don't we?
Oh, definitely.
We dabble in the wrong things. So
yes,
I mean, seriously, I've gone through quite a few over the years, and I'd love to get back more. But I love airplanes, tanks. I'm always stealing from armor finishes. I stumbled into scale modeling at a really good time. I think it was when the MIG production forum was in full swing.
Yes.
So I got to see. And homage from Reed Steele, wonderful ideas and concepts from people like there was Spencer Pollard, Michael Rinaldi, Adam Wilder. MIG was still pretty involved then. Bunch of folks like that, Brian Kruger, who were mostly doing tanks, but they were showing a bunch of things, and it seemed to be it was a great opportunity to see such high spec modelers before they were no longer sharing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but because the world's changed since then quite a bit, hasn't it?
Oh, it has, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So they just changed a lot. So at that stage, like, I learned loads of really cool stuff from Spencer Pollard. You've had him on the show, right?
No, we haven't had Spencer on yet.
We haven't had him on the show yet. No.
He's very interesting to speak with. So definitely, I'm sure he'd love to. Just don't blame me. No, he's a great bloke. I'm sure it'd work out really well. Yeah. So those ones, you're exactly right about the multi-genre disciplines kind of blending up together there. And I've got to be a little bit honest too. About, like, with current world events, that really puts me off doing anything that gets close to reality right now.
Oh, yeah.
I find that quite difficult just personally to kind of do. So that fits well for me. But I also, I don't know if this is wrong, but the inspiration that is coming from the horror is something that I don't think we can switch off to, can we? I mean, you see some of I know what wrecked tanks look like now, that's for sure.
Yeah,
very true.
Yeah, and I understand the horror of it, but I can't also help but be fascinated about some of the things that I'm seeing. But of course, there's the victims on both sides there. It's quite awful to see, isn't it?
But then you can turn that interest and artistic sort of expression into the sci-fi sort of world, and sort of and
sure, and
splash it on that way.
Well,
and that's one of the good things about sci-fi. There's no sort of boundaries or anything. There's no there can be no sort of rivet counting as to what a proper paint scheme for a particular subject is, because it's all
Yes, of course. Yes.
Unless you're one of these die-hard fans who you look at a movie and you're doing a model from a particular movie and you go, oh no, that must be a certain color, Well,
right.
But that's why I find Machine Krieger and even Warhammer stuff and those sort of subjects interesting, is because there's no boundaries to it.
You've got an open palette.
Yeah, whereas, if you think Star Wars sci-fi or
Star Trek.
you're stuck in a particular groove in regards to there's not as much
leeway.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Have you
go on.
Go ahead.
No,
Please. You're on a roll.
No, you.
I like where you're going. No, I didn't mean that as I wasn't making fun. I was serious. I love that freedom, and the freedom of color palette.
Yes.
But it does slam you sometimes, because I have, I've led some friends astray over the years, and but then they get a bit stuck because they say, "Okay, Link, I've got full color choice here, right? Yes, do whatever you want." And but then they go, but I don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, I'm in exactly that same position right now. I've done this Japanese sci-fi spaceship, and I want to do something different to it, but I'm paralyzed by not deciding which colours to put on it, and so it's just sitting there unpainted at the moment.
Right.
It always reminds me of like high school when a teacher like for once would say, "You can do anything you like." And then you go, well, now I don't know what to do. I need a bit more structure to work within.
No, I liken it to being back in high school, and there's a really hot chick, and you're too gutless to go up and ask her out.
I don't know what to say. I don't have the right words or shoes or hair or reason.
Exactly. Wearing the wrong pair of jeans.
Is this now when I should plug that you should just buy my books and copy those paint schemes then?
Well, absolutely. Why not?
I did do a bunch of those kind of things with that in mind, because I realized there's probably, I don't know whether we would call it a crossover period or just ideas and inspirations, because there still can be a period. There's when we do whatever we want, and then there's where we're still mimicking other artists. And have I got to use other pretentious words now? Artists and film. So I say this because I'm just a random modeler who has once I copied enough good artists over the years, I started to have more ideas and better choices for putting together my own paint schemes. But that was only because I went through that kind of, like the apprenticeship that artists have always been through over the years, in the learning phase, and even then a reinforcing phase. And once we've built up enough of a repertoire in our mind of what looks correct together, we get a lot better at it. So the newest one that I'm selling, the Mark 44 guide, that's our nickname for it. It's probably the way I should talk about it. There's 14 different ones in total, and I've got 4 that have a deep dive on them for each of the steps, so that somebody could just follow me through to get a better understanding of where it goes, and 4 different color palette choices, and explain why those colors work together.
Well, we've been blessed in that you've actually sent us through some pictures from the your upcoming book, which is.
Can you show them on the podcast, please?
Am I allowed to share these pictures?
I was trying to be funny, but so that was a fail. That was an instant fail.
Well, I do have a Facebook page, but I don't want to share anything I'm not allowed to share.
Oh, of course.
But as I said, we're lucky enough that, and very grateful to you sent through some photos or pictures of what's actually in the book, and I've got them here on my big plasma screen, for want of a better word, in the recording studio, and we're looking at them now. And
to say recording studio and plasma screen in one sentence.
Yeah,
you're pretty flashy.
I'm just in dungeon.
And it's just gobsmacking the pictures that you've got there, and we're looking at the 4 different ones that you're talking about. There's
Okay, cool.
one in like a white sort of scheme, one in a black and white scheme, one in a green and brownish sort of scheme or rust, and another one in sort of like a
Yellow.
yellow and sort of greeny. It's hard to explain, and I'm really hoping that you'll publish some of these on your Facebook page for people to have a look at, because these pictures alone, if they're not going to be a hook for people to go and buy your book, then I don't know what is, because they're absolutely drop dead gorgeous.
Totally agree.
Thank you. I approached each one too, because there's a couple of ideas out there that I'm probably partially responsible for ruining this too. That I do like hand brushing models, but I just like the look, and I feel like I'm still 12. That freedom of expression.
Yep.
It feels really good to me, and I wasn't airbrush enabled until very late in my modeling. So I'd already learned all the other things, and it wasn't until actually I was being published and doing was reasonably well known with modeling in Japan. Then somebody throws an airbrush at you. You go, well, I got to figure out how to use this bloody thing now. But so those the different versions there, I tried to also approach them all with a different methodology to enable people just based on what they've got. So one of them is done with cans and very little airbrush. Two of them are full hand paint, but one is with lacquer paints and one is with water-based acrylics. And then there's a full airbrush one, the dark gray, red, and white one. Yep. That's full airbrush. And it was just to enable people to go use the tools that you like best, and they're still completely, acceptable. You can get Canon looks if you want, go your own way if you want, just to try to open it up for people, make it, like I said, accessible, I guess. Because I would guess all 3 of you, you're airbrush pros, aren't you?
Oh, I wouldn't say pros, but yeah, we
you can call me a pro. Yeah, I'll go with that title.
Slightly proficient.
I'm lavish with my praise. No, but I mean, but I get it too, because
I would say that all of 3 of us would probably be much better with an airbrush than with a paintbrush.
Well, because once you get good at one, you don't want to be bad at the other one, do you? So it channels you in that direction, doesn't it?
Correct.
Once you've picked up a bunch of airbrush skills and plonked down all the money, you don't want to go and pick up a paintbrush and start over again. We don't have time for that, do we?
Exactly.
So, so I wanted to share that one because it's just based on the questions I get over the years. Do you have to hand brush it? No, of course not. You can airbrush to your heart's content.
The different styles you've got there, and
yes,
and I like so you've got sort of notes. It's a typical sort of magazine, or not magazine, a typical book that people can expect. It's almost like a how-to sort of paint, and you sort of detail what different paints you use, what filters you use, etc., and even what techniques you use. But also supporting this, you've got obviously your YouTube channels with that you've had running for donkey's years now, in which you actually show people how to do these different techniques in the video format. I mean, the one thing the books are wonderful and they're gorgeous because you can sit there and sort of dribble over them and drool over them and look at them while you're eating your cornflakes in the morning and all that sort of stuff, and have them there for inspiration. But sometimes the books are hard to actually demonstrate the technique, and that's where it's good to have your videos as sort of a backstop to that. So if people sort of go, oh, yeah, I can see what he's saying here.
Thank you for pointing that out.
What does it mean? Yeah.
It's one of I feel like it's a failing on my part that over the years, I never felt that I've been fully able to share things, either by video or by publication. So I wanted to kind of put them together in a way. So the book kind of feels like it's a standalone thing, but it could also be like a collector's item for the people who perhaps enjoyed that video content. Thank you for pointing that out. It's in fact, so the next one's in progress too. That's one of the reasons I get a bit scatterbrained when I have to do interviews. I don't know how actual famous people who are good at things like actors. They do the big roadshow for their new films when they come out. They've got to be deep into their next thing, haven't they?
Oh yeah, when they're doing the promotion for the movie that could have shot that movie 2 years ago, quite easily. So that blows my mind.
That's how I feel. Yeah, that's how I feel. So I've got to be exciting and interesting about projects that I've long locked away, and I'm now failing through new stuff. So that makes it. That's why I wonder, because their cycle must be even longer. And like Dave mentioned that I was talking about this stuff a couple of years ago. Just took forever to get them done. There's a lot of work that goes into formatting and presenting and getting a book, and books need to look good, don't they? They need to hit a professional standard, don't they?
Correct.
Oh, look, 100%. And, because people are, spending good coin for it. And so there's a level of expectation that the quality is going to match what you're purchasing. And
Correct.
I can vouch for what we've seen. Your book certainly hit that mark. So your book certainly hits that mark. So there's no worries. I wouldn't hesitate recommending anybody sort of have a look and sort of lay down some shekels in purchasing this, particularly if you're interested in sort of stepping out of your normal comfort zone in regards to doing like a sci-fi subject, or even if you're not into sci-fi, just for looking at the artistic work that's been done
and the insane weathering.
Oh yeah, the weathering.
I'm actually at the moment. I'm just going to change here a bit. I'm actually looking at.
Who doesn't like Power Armor Prawn?
Yes.
Come on, let's say it for what it is. Power Armor Prawn. And I've actually written words in it too.
I know. I'm surprised you was able to string a sentence together. Obviously, you've got a very good editor.
Can I ask?
Especially for a Queenslander, right?
Queenslander. Can I ask? Did you do the photography for this?
I'm really sorry. The last part of the sentence I couldn't catch. Sorry.
Did you do the photography for this?
So photography. So there's two sections. So the principal photography for the first 4 that are in extreme depth, that's all me. And thank goodness to the Sci-Fi FAQ. That opportunity really helped me to practice photography, right? Because there's so many photos in it. So they're mine, but the section that's on Max Watanabe-san, that was shot by one of the Hobby Japan guys, photographers. So what's that about? It's about a third of the book was actually shot in Japan by, let's call him a team member. I'm still feeling inferior due to not having a plasma screen or a recording studio. So I need to kind of get back. That's my Japan team. But
well, I mean, specifically, the one that interests me is the one where all 4 of them are like side by side.
Okay. That is mine. I'm not sure I'm super happy on that one, but it's not bad.
Well, that's a really hard one to pull off because you've got a lot of different bright colours playing there, but you've also got to balance them off against the more monochrome sort of ones.
Yeah. Thank you for seeing that. I super sincerely appreciate you getting that. Yeah, because that was brutal. And I played with my dolls a lot to get that right. Remember the old dark helmet, Spaceballs, playing with his dolls?
Yes.
So,
well, I mean, I really
heights.
appreciate it because I've photographed my own models, and one of the things that always is hard for me to grapple with is that the color representation of the model sitting in front of you doesn't match the photos that are coming out. Things will look more green brutal, or more brown than you want them to, and then you try to tweak it in Photoshop or something, and it goes the wrong way, and it doesn't work.
Well, as you can see there, so I've got a particularly bright one, and then I've got what I would consider there's one bright one, and the other 3 are darkish. They're quite militaristic, but then one of them is grey and white at the same time. So. Yeah, getting those to have a semblance of balance in a shot was brutal. Plus, look at the heights. See how I've got some extended, some are on flight stilt things, and so getting them all to kind of read and look coherent was it was really hard. But I it's like modeling, right? I got it to a point where I said, "Yep, that's enough." We're done.
So, well, the
I'm happy
photography is almost a separate hobby in itself, right?
Oh, dude, yeah. So, yeah, it is the photography, and then there's that post rendering to get them to look how you want it to be represented. Yeah, I don't know if my words came out right there, but
No, I get exactly what you mean, because so many times people say, they'll post something on social media and say, here's a photo, fantastic model I've seen, but it looks even better in real life. The pictures doesn't do it justice. And there's the old saying, picture doesn't do it justice. So getting the picture to do justice to what you've done is no easy task.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if a professional photographer would look at this and go, yeah, I'm going to shoot all 4 of these separately and then balance them all in post.
Right.
And then just sandwich them together. Because I don't have the time to sit there tweaking it for an hour.
The thought did cross my mind. I mean, because there's you see a lot of clever photography put up, and the shots where we've got a bunch of different views of the same finished kit, and then they amalgamate them into that one shot. And so you've seen them. Did that come out right?
Yeah, felt like focus stacking and things.
So that appeals to me too, because you look at it and you go, there's that 12-year-old in you that goes, that's cool. But there's that other part of me that loves, and I'm sure you saw this too. That's in camera, don't you?
Yep.
Or did you laugh at me and go, that idiot did this in camera? I don't know which way it is.
We all appreciate, giving credit where it's due, and it's pretty obvious that it's all one shot. You got overlapping shadows in the background. So,
did you notice I left the shadows in? Thank you. I love that you noticed that. I know it can be a plus minus. Some people prefer no shadow. I don't know if you've got the cover shot. I sent through a decent chunk there. I wanted the cover to also feature a shadow because, and this is just my personal take, my personal almost fetish, right? I know I appreciate the art of the no shadow, but I also know a lot of them are just photoshopped out. You know what I mean?
But the shadow is important because it gives perspective.
I 100% agree. That's my taste. My personal taste is I love to see a shadow of some kind just to orientate it and help bring it to not be a 3D render, but a physical model. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to do. I mean, I have the skills I can Photoshop them out if people prefer it, but I thought, having the shadows in.
Having the shadows on the the background of the picture helps inform you the way the shadows are on the actual model. If you get what I'm saying. So it helps in your mind when you look at it. Your mind automatically orientates the model, and you can see the darkness and the shadows on the model.
Yes.
In relation to the shadow that the model's casting onto the background.
Yes. Awesome. I'm so happy. This is the best feedback ever. Thank you very much, guys.
People can also fairly easily tell if it's been photoshopped. You have to be very, very, very good at Photoshop to hide the fact that you photoshopped something. And just selecting the area around a model and then deleting it so you just fill it with white space. I know, right? Yeah. It does look like it just looks like it's just floating there, and it looks like an attempt to hide poor photography.
Right. You either need to be really, really good at it, and it's one of those things that, forgive me for being opinionated about this, but I thought, well, you've only got so much time, haven't we?
Yes.
So where do I point my time? Do I want something to look great and fake? Because that's what our mate, Miguel Jimenez, and sorry for Spanish speakers. Yeah, I always get the names wrong. I can't say it right because I'm from Australia. But like they say my name right too, right? But he was a big fan of hey, this is already fake. Let's make it more fake, which I do understand. That also makes kind of logical sense to me. But I also like the improvement of the reality of things it's just something that I liked. And my wife told me to do it too. I should actually put that in. She said, no, shadows are better. Do that. And so here we are.
Like you said, let's make it, it's already fake. Let's make it more fake. But your brand of modeling involves mimicking realism. So why not put more realism into it?
Sure. you're right, 100%. Again, thank you. I like that kind of look. That's why I've gone with real photography, and it's in camera for the effects. And I love that kind of thing. You know, I guess most of us would have seen Star Wars when we were younger, and there's always that bit of nostalgia, isn't there? For the more realistic they made things using real props and stuff rather than just CG, it seemed cooler somehow, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Correct.
And even modern day filmmakers have kind of gone back that way too. So I think with the Mandalorian and those guys in that studio now, they use as many real props as they can because they said they prefer it. So I think there's got to be a happy medium there for us somehow, hasn't there? That we can keep it real. I did get some feedback from the so for the AK folks, they love the plain white background, but there's commercial reasons for that are not artistic, and this is not a negative. It's just more of it's just an observation because there's a strong. I think this is okay for me to say. I mean, it's quite obvious, isn't it, that there's a strong commercial direction for that kind of publication, and they need to be selling both the knowledge and the products that take up a conspicuous amount of page space in such publications. That came out pretty well, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
It did.
I think
I did a very expensive product catalog. There, I said it. So, but that's just what they are. So that's fine. I understand that to then mesh in other product overlays, it just works a lot better for them if it's white on white. They don't have to mess with that too much. Mm-hmm. But my book has no ads, except I guess if you see the love for the Machine and Krieger property itself as an ad for buying their stuff. I mean, I got to be completely honest about that. And in fact, I mean, they didn't pay me; I paid them. So.
Well,
I
either
really
way,
do love
like
the stuff.
one person's paying someone, and you know, no one's doing any of this for free. People have to make a living.
Yes. So this one, so the new one, that's it's done by me and a small team of super talented friends that I got involved with it. Like, so this is the first time. I know a lot of people. I was really shocked by this. I know a lot of folks have got no clue who Max Watanabe-san is, and that's cool. I think folks who have been into Gundam stuff for a long time, they're more aware because we're going back.
It rings a bell with me, but I can't remember where.
So you know the famous Zaku models, the robot-y looking guy with the one eye. If you ever see the show, they last like 3 seconds and instantly get blown up on screen every single time. They've got the one red eye and they've got like the biscuit tin machine guns.
Yeah. So
those guys.
It's the one where all the people on our military side of the hobby like to get those models and then put German crosses on them and stuff because they think they look like they think the helmet style is very German, you know.
And that's when those requests come in. Like sometimes these other publishers ask you to do that. Could you put the Wehrmacht? What's it called again? The Vulcan Cruise?
Yeah.
On this one, and can you put this? And it says, no, I can't cross the streams. It's
cross the streams.
Yeah, the little fanboy inside of me gets all upset.
Yeah, but it's also the most overplayed thing. Like you see those all the time. Like people who have no interest in Gundam will go, oh, look at that. Wouldn't it be good if I put some crosses on it?
These are totally space Nazis. They're totally. And that's actually one of the funny gags behind Machine and Krieger doors kind of thing is that we would absolutely giggle our backsides off because up front we have to say, no, these are not space Nazis. But close the doors and we go, yes, these are totally space Nazis. But it's meant as tongue-in-cheek, just kind of fun. But anyway, the Max thing was that he's the guy who first painted one of those red robots green. And then after that, that was incorporated into the show, made quite a big splash there in Japan. And that was like ages ago. Like we'd be talking 40 years ago, I guess.
Oh, wow.
So Yeah. So Max Factory Toys, Figma, Good Smile. He's actually the owner of all that stuff. So it's more of I added those sections. It's both as a gift to him to be finally published in English, but also kind of to people who understand or enjoy the history of modeling, to just kind of have a bit of an idea of where we come from, why we're doing some things, is to include an old school legend like him and be able to read his words translated from a good friend. We've been quite close for many years, so we did a Zoom meeting together, and I recorded it and painstakingly translated what he had told me. So, and as a modeler myself, we as modelers can really talk with one another, can't we? We know exactly what we need.
Yep.
Well, look how you guys, you looked at the photos, you absolutely nailed it. You got it on the shadows, whiteness, and how difficult some shots might be, that kind of thing. So that was really cool. Usually if you put a blank translator in between you don't get quite the same image. So there's 30 pages and 14 in total different concepts from him that are, I think it's really valuable for folks to read. I hope so. This is I got to be honest too, this is a bit of a test, isn't it? I don't know how it will go.
I think
I've just tried to do my best.
The fact that you're already doing, you're starting on the second book. I mean, you must have a fairly confident. You must be fairly confident with this one.
So the pre-sales have gone very well. So well enough. Please still buy, please.
Where can you purchase them from?
I'm very sorry. The software cut out.
Yep.
That last comment.
I said. So where can you buy them from?
So directly on my website, paintonplastic.com.
Yep. Cool.
Huge ad. You can't miss it.
And due for release, because you're taking pre-orders now, so should be released in I want to say
August to September.
August to September. Yep.
And again, it's I'm failing through this as I go, because I've been working in publishing for that 15, 17 years, I think I'd mentioned before. I'd need to actually sit down and get my fingers and toes out to count them up. But this is the first time for me to get through the entire process. And because I'm in Australia, it's the first time as well. So there's a lot of firsts here. It's kind of amusing. I mean, you guys, we're all Aussies, so I understand a lot of your viewers are overseas, and I'm so sorry to them that they're confronted with the reality of overseas shipping.
Yes.
Well, so
no more than us who have to buy things from over there.
Well, let's. Australians are probably the most hard done by people in the world for overseas shipping, because we are so far from everywhere.
Correct.
So my friends tell me, my friends are in publishing. I've reached out to some and got some great feedback and advice. I mean, Chris Meddings,
yes,
absolute legend.
Yep.
He, poor guy. He's so we're old mates. We go back. We've actually even met once in Japan, which was interesting, and really, really nice, genuine bloke. He's absolutely been holding my hand through this, because there's so many gaps in my knowledge and experience that I can get it to a certain stage, and then I've got other friends who can help me get it even further. But the actual physical production, it's a whole different thing. So different folks who have published from overseas have laughed how usually it's Aussies who come back with, come on, mate. So I'm trying to bung on a decent accent. I don't think I can do it. At least I can say bung on now, right? But Struth, mate, the bloody shipping's as much as your book. But there's nothing we can do about that. No. It's purely based on weight. And we're basically like a pimp for shipping. You hold the money. It looks nice when you get it, but then you got to pay it out straight away. You don't actually get to keep it.
And then on top of that, shipping is horrendously expensive at the moment, regardless, worldwide, because of all the issues that are happening around the world.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So great timing there, Link, idiot. But this is the first time though that I've not had any complaints from Aussies, because I really feel our pain.
Yes.
It was just our friends in Scandinavia and South America is so far from here that it's ridiculous. But over time, I plan to figure out how to get better deals for that. That'll just be based on things like volume and learning how to do it better.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah, but Aussie sales has been really big. Thank you, Australia, US, UK, few to Europe.
Well, that's good because I'm going to certainly be placing an order for this over the weekend because
Same here.
it's how many pages are there in the book?
128.
128 pages of deliciousness, sci-fi deliciousness.
It is good because I worked on it a lot and I tried to. The story is good too because it's not just random products filled with Spanish water. It's wait, am I allowed to say that? Cut that part. Cut that out. Cut that out. You can spray. These are safety paints. You can spray them in the children's mouths. I'm sure he said something like that. There was a video of that, wasn't there?
I think there was somewhere along the lines, yeah, but it might have been in Spanish, so I missed it in translation.
yeah, poor buggers. But so this one though, what the requirement was from Yokoyama-san that I had to make sure I've got a spin on the story. And so this one, those four that I show in depth show me from just moving to Australia. One of them is actually the first model I made in Australia. So boom. And then the last one was after I finished Sci-Fi FAQ. So it encompassed that 5-year period of what I learned in modeling, personal development and what have you. So that was actually really fun to write about and to fit into it, as well as some of the background stories like what is this machine and Krieger nonsense, and some narratives too.
And I'm pleased to see you put that in, that what is the background, and although it's not a huge amount, because as much as I'm familiar with Machine Krieger, and I'm yet to sort of buy one, I'll need to go and do that. We were looking at it the other day. Ian and I were in a model shop the other day, and I was humming and hawing about getting one, and I go,
I told you to get one.
You did. Anyway, I'm glad you put a little bit of narrative in there because there's nothing worse than you're looking at a book or a magazine article, and it's just got the model and how they did it. Well, that's fine, but I want a little bit of backstory to it as well. And I'm pleased to see that you did
guys
that.
also, yeah, do you also enjoy learning a bit of the why?
Yes, of course.
So there's another section, another like mini chapter I could call of just what is the Mark 44 and why I chose it, because
good.
It's actually not. If we're truth to write, these guys who are really deep into it, who I ask for advice, because some folks just they know everything there is to know about shrimping, so they're just genius on this. So I get the help and advice. Because I'm more on the knuckle dragging, just paint it sort of level, right? So what is this thing, and why is it now technically included within this property, even though it's not really? It was done at a different time, and it's from another little story and magazine, and there's a little bit to it. So that was actually, I didn't know it to that depth. So researching that and finding out the real backstory was really eye-opening for me. So that one was really good. Then there was the law. A lot of folks want to know about law, background. Is that the right way we call it? Background stuff?
Yep.
So I've touched on it just enough so that you can I figured the people who like that are way smarter than me, number one. And that's a low benchmark. So it's maybe not a great, it's not a huge compliment, but I mean it to be. So I figure I've written the backstories for each of the units and been very tongue-in-cheek with the names, etc. But because that's how the property is supposed to be represented. It's supposed to be fun. But also I've tried to explain or given them realistic unit markings and positions so that if you sat down and kind of worked it out on paper, you can figure out how they are assembled into teams, because a lot of folks really wanted to know that.
Yep.
And it had never actually been put down on paper before. So I've had to kind of back engineer and work that through and get permission for it. So that was a lot of fun too, to figure out how they work, both for ground squadrons and the air/space squadrons. So that was nifty. It was like inventing, but creating something for the property, which was pretty nifty.
Well, I hope you got it right, because otherwise, the super fans will cite your book and use it as a stick to beat people over the head with.
That was the best part. So maybe this will be interesting for people. I don't know. So part of the research entailed getting every single one of those. You know, the paint cards. They come in the box, and they've got
the sepia tone cards. Yep.
Yeah. They've got the suggested market.
The Pantone ones, or
no, the ones that originally came in the because I got a whole heap of the original Nitto boxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they always came with like a little card, a little cardboard card.
That's them,
yeah.
Dude. You know.
Oh yeah, I've got a heap of them.
Hey, are you the source? Do you have like millions of them stacked up under IKEA furniture?
No, not that many. I got a good amount, but not that many.
Yeah, he's got an IKEA house. Constantly they're stacked under.
Right. I mean, where are they? It's like Tupac. Are they still alive? Are they still making stuff? They seem to always come out with new kits, right?
Yeah.
But I got all of those paint cards, and I was in touch with Kato-san. People who know that Kato-san's the rainbow egg guy who still does the monthly stuff in Hobby Japan. I got all of the paint cards for all of the ones that had been issued for this series, translated them all enough so that I could follow it all, and painstakingly worked it out.
Wow.
It was quite a nosebleed, especially for a knuckle dragger. So
I'm really pleased you've done that, because, and this is something that the Warhammer sort of 40,000 does really well, because they put a codex out for all of their different armies and stuff like that. So it gives you the background, it gives you the divisions, or the makeup of the units, and it gives you the colours and all that sort of stuff. And not that I sort of play the game, so I couldn't care less about the rules in the back, but I'd purchase them just for that section, because I find that fascinating and interesting to read. And so I'm pleased to see or hear that you've actually gone and done this, because that's big kudos to you.
Thank you. I mean, we are exactly the same. I love Warhammer because of that stuff. I don't have the social skills to play the game.
you just have to roll dice and not.
I did when I was a young bloke. I did when I was a young bloke.
See, I don't have the patience for all of the if someone who comes from a video game background, I just don't see the point of using physical dice to do what you can just press a button to do.
Yeah, but I came from the old wargaming background with the old board games from Avalon Hill and everything. So
yeah, but it's a social thing.
Yeah.
No, you get to pray to dice. That's the difference. You get to say, please, I really need you now. Be all 3+.
See, that may work for Dungeons and Dragons, where you've got like one dice to throw, but if you play orcs and you've got like a bucket of dice that you got to throw across the table, right? You can't really pray over the bucket.
5+ saves or something. Yeah. Come on, all 5s or better. Yeah. Oh wow, look at all those ones.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Warhammer,
yes.
Because you were talking earlier about like the color choice, and that's an important thing, because I see a lot of people who will make their own army in Warhammer, and they'll pick like a primary and a secondary color, right?
Yeah.
And they'll pick terrible colors that just do not work together. They'll pick two really dark pink and purples or something like that, or usually a purple and a blue, and it just doesn't work at all. I'm sick of seeing that. It just drives me up the wall. Oh.
Yeah, I was one of them. Here's the funny thing. I was full on into. I mean, I still love Warhammer. I was full into making and playing Warhammer before I started sci-fi modeling.
No.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. But
there's a lot of overlap when you think about it.
What's the thing? I bought one of those McFarlane toys, the giant.
Oh, the big Space Marines.
Space Marine guys to paint up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So long as I call him generic space dude, I think I could keep him in one of my new publications, right?
Yeah.
He is not a Space Marine. But So thinking up the paint scheme for that, I think they're Reavers. They're supposed to be like real, badass Space Marine special ops guys. What's not to like, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of mashing up some of the paint colors for him in my mind has been lots of fun too. So I hope that'll be useful, because I'm not only going to do Machine & Krieger. It's the 40th anniversary this year. So this one and the next one are going to be, special 40th anniversary editions. That's what that little heart mark on the front of the cover is for.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I thought that would be pretty
year
nifty.
for you, isn't it?
Yeah, so to make the first English versions of their books in that year would be pretty nifty for them. A bit of a gift back, paying it back to York Amazon for all his help over the years.
Yeah, definitely.
But then I can kind of run with different / new stuff. So that's going to be fun as well, because then you get to play with crazy colors and mix and match them up, and they'll be nifty too.
Fully agree.
Uber cool.
Too much future focus, Link. Stay on what you were doing now.
Focus.
So you just to go off on a different thing for a moment.
Yeah.
Right now is the Shoes to Worker hobby show. Is that?
Yes.
I'm sure that's an event you would have attended in the past, right?
Yes.
I'm surprised you're not there this year, given that the significance of this year for the property.
Yeah. Well, money.
Yeah.
Always the outstanding thing.
If I can just drop the bomb, I mean, I was getting invitations left, right, and center, and even invitations to go to some shows in Europe. But none of those invitations came with airplane tickets. So, and just the busyness of what I'm involved with now. But yeah, I mean, I was in touch with a handful of people. I kind of apologize for not being there, but just the time and the and the cost. I am fully self-funded now. I don't have any alliance. I don't have any tie-ups with anyone anymore, which is, it's wonderful, that feeling of freedom. But then there's the shocking, harrowing fear of having to also be responsible for everything.
Yes.
And yeah. So signing off on gallivanting around was just not right for me yet.
So what you're saying is it's a public appeal for a model sugar daddy. Is that what you're looking for?
I've got a bunch of things. I feel like I already ask so many people for so much, and I'm eternally grateful, because I mean, I've got a Patreon support thing that this will be the first time to mention it. I am going to upgrade it now that my product offerings include physical publications. So it won't just be video content, it'll be more. MAWR, more.
Groovy.
So I'd like to thank those folks for more by including part of that as well. Plus, whilst I'm making the principle that the models for these publications, I'm also going to capture video content for it. So just as Dave was saying before, he likes the showing both. I've had quite a few requests for more versions of what I'm not sure I'm qualified to call it this myself, but I did a 28-part series on taking the Folker flying kit from the Machine & Krieger property. It's a very popular kit. Taking it from zero to finish took 28 steps. So far too many. I was young, naive. They said it would be artistic. I needed the work. I probably should have condensed that a great deal more. So that's what I'm learning from that. What I would say, it's a kind of failure. It's been very popular, but it's kind of a failure, because I think I need to hurry up and get to the point a bit better for people. So I'm going to do a masterclass now on what I think will be the biggest kit of the next book, is a camel. I'm not sure you guys will be familiar with that model.
Is that the four-legged one with like the big bubble at the front?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. So my friends have confided that it's a little bit intimidating of a kit, and I admit to maybe dropping 3 drops of pee as I built it, but it's my. Sorry, am I allowed to get away with that?
Of course you are.
Okay, cool.
Wait,
Thank you.
Can I just ask, why is it supposed to be so intimidating?
Oh, you haven't seen it. It's a freaking crazy looking kit.
Yeah,
This is the four-legged thing, right?
Yeah, stilt
number
like
one
legs.
is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you were saying before, you're exactly right. We all come from different backgrounds. So, I've got friends coming in who are from Warhammer, 135 Armor, huge airplanes. The airplane people are never intimidated because they come in from making 132 scale behemoth models.
Yes.
So they laugh. They laugh in my general direction. But some folks come in from making smaller stuff. That's why initially for me, I even thought that Rhinos and Land Raiders were massive kits. So there's been a bit of that. Plus, there's if you come from something, or if you're coming from another direction, that the kits feature a lot of built-in detail.
They do, yes.
Right? The Maschinenkrieger kits have a lot of organic smoothness. So that can put some folks off. They get scared about the weathering. I'm like, no, that means you just get to ruin it more. Canvas time. So like I did with I'd done a lunar diver for the next project too. It's the big moon attack gunship looking thing.
Yep.
And I went full Rembrandt insanity with huge, crazy Bob Ross brushes on that guy. And gosh, and that was really fun. Like using stupid big brushes and oil paints.
Yep.
Yeah. So I had the big curly wig on, the palette, the little squirrels coming to visit me at the studio.
Lots of happy trees.
Happy trees, happy accidents. It was all happy accident, mate. So that one, based on the feedback just from the folks who pay to watch the more professional, quasi-professionally done videos, that's the next project, is to do a masterclass. Say, I think I can get it done in 3 to 5 videos, make it a bit more condensed for folks.
Yep. It's an impressive looking figure too.
Yeah.
A camel.
Now, what's the four-legged one?
I'm trying to remember
that was what I thought you were talking about before.
No, it's only two-legged.
Yeah. There's a couple of four-legged ones, and I've got. They've just not long ago they've done a 135 scale of them.
Yeah, that seems to be the new size coming out now, isn't it? 135.
There has been. I've got a blog post up that went up on just the Friday. They're showcasing a handful of new stuff. So if you just go to paintonplastic.com, accidentally buy my book on the way in, and then get to the news section. I've got a couple of photos of the prototypes that have been shown, and then I know the bloke who's the sculptor for the stuff in Japan there.
Yep.
Even though he keeps getting it wrong, and we make fun of him, but because he's having to redo it for the small scales.
Yes.
So yeah, they've got a bunch of stuff in 135, which I'm super excited for, because if I can be really, really honest, I don't feel I have good diorama skills, because I've either been making the pretty big guys who are like figures and placing them on small bases that kind of allows for a bit of a vignette, but it's not a proper diorama base, right?
Yes.
And 1/20th scale is insane if you start thinking. Yeah. And plus, I've got friends who are just much better at me at that. So for 135 scale, though, I'm the sort of mediocre modeler who needs to be able to buy the supporting cast, like, barnyard and animals from Mini Art, that kind of thing, and then mash them up with some of these sci-fi things. Did that make any sense at all, guys?
Yes, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Maybe.
Yeah. So
maybe you can make up for your lack of diorama skill by just maybe going with a workshop setting.
Yes.
Oh, you mean
yes.
like have the figure in a workshop?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you can also recycle it, right? Use it as like a just
generic
a
base.
Like a backdrop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I don't know if this is too off topic, guys. I know I need to keep the show nice and dense, but
no, we're all about the rambling here.
Gosh, man, if only I could go back and visit Honma-san. Honma is the principal photographer for the Hobby Japan company, and he's got this studio, and he's got like the Mandalorian soundstage and filming studio set up in miniature in his like booth working area.
Oh, wow.
And he's got the rails set up, all of the lighting. He can pull up and change the backdrops based on the topics. Then he's got a bunch of, how the war gamers have those terrain boards that they can kind of put together and rearrange, and they've got like the urban one. He's got the moon base ones. He's got the forest ones, and he would be set up for any kind of photo shoot. And then we'd come in and play with our toys, and he'd photograph them, and they'd look amazing. I'm working towards developing my really crappy version of that. And that's what I'm doing with the next project. So the camel is in 1/20th scale. The lunar diver is in 1/35 scale. And in that little article I've just shared, I've got a couple of little flying human-size spacesuits.
They're used to the new ones, aren't they?
That's right. So in those ones, we can do some, I believe I'm getting the name right. We call it forced perspective photography.
Yep.
So, and hopefully with some friends who are way more skilled than me, they can help me to put the moon background into maybe some of the shots, but to get the principal photography so that you got the little flying space dudes, the spaceship in the background, and then like the hero shot of the camel up front, but actually be in camera so that it feels more weighty and realistic. It's not just, I could Photoshop them and move them around, but I've got a feeling we will enjoy it more if we know it's a real shot.
Correct. Yes, it is.
And get more of that kind of toy photography into some of the shots, because like you said, I definitely want to go down my little rabbit hole of the magazine type work that I've done in the past, which shows, Link did this stupidity with this model, 1, 2, 3. But also to kind of bring them to life and have a bit of fun with it, with the photography and the storytelling, and kind of bring them together for what I would like to think is my style. But I'm sure I'm copying somebody. I think I'm copying Grace Coddington from Vogue magazine. But that's a real thing. I know it sounds funny. That's why I thought I could drop that in. But she's the one who made Vogue world famous with her artistic style.
Yep.
She's a genius. If anybody's interested in looking that up, absolutely amazing stuff. No, I don't subscribe to Vogue.
That's going to be a question, but I think I'll leave that one go to the keeper.
Yeah, I think you left that disclaimer a little too late.
Space guy reads Vogue, but it's probably the most successful magazine in the world. So there's a great deal to learn from that as a wannabe publisher.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
So what does the future hold then?
Plus it matches my shoes.
So what does the future hold for you? In the next, let's do the short term, next couple of months.
Okay. Yeah.
Through the next 12 months.
I'm stumbling forward with each step, and trying to make this better and better so that I can serve people who enjoy the sci-fi stuff with a blend of things that are maybe not as product focused, but open up some more aspects of it for them and their creativity. So, just like what we were saying with a bunch of my air, AFV, my shipbuilder mates, so that they can feel a little bit more empowered to buy sci-fi and have fun with sci-fi. So that would be my overarching long-term goal. Sorry, I'm going to make sure I frame it for the question. So I noticed a bunch of my friends, they don't really make sci-fi, but they've purchased the book. I'm happy to sign it for people too. It's coming directly from me. And empower them to be able to start and have fun with this kind of stuff. So that's long-term one. Short-term is I'm hoping for the Christmas break to get my volume 2 out.
Cool.
I don't think I should spoil the titles and things yet. But I mean, if you look at what I'm making, it's pretty Captain Obvious. They match up pretty well. And that's one of the things. I can't work in secret because I'm also, it's just one of the requirements, right? I need to be sharing a certain amount of stuff too.
Yeah.
So that would be that's dead on the 6-month goal, is to have Mark 44 primarily shipped. Primarily shipped, and have that one be a modicum of success. Hopefully people get it and say, this doesn't suck. That would be very nice. go through all of the trials and tribulations of getting that to happen. There's quite a few steps I need to learn through, and then have second pre-order up and ready to go so that I can fit it within that 1 year period of the Machine Krieger 40th anniversary. So that's the short, the medium term, because that time period goes to April next year, April 23, it finishes. Hey, I'm sharp on dates. That's one thing I can do. Wow. My mind actually works for some things.
Yeah.
And then I'm open. To do broader sci-fi topics next. And that's exciting to me as well. Did that answer it in 3 time periods, I guess?
Pretty sure.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
I've got nothing more than that. I'm not smart enough to have. So,
well, I'm sure
I have a
your
nice
I'm
bookshelf.
sure your book's going to be have rave reviews, because if the 8 or so teasing pictures that we got or anything to sort of go by, it's going to be a raving success.
Yeah, it's a top quality production by the looks of it.
And
Thank you very much, David.
for
I
those
need
of
to
you,
do a shout out. I want people to know it's not all me though. This one has got like maybe 5 people in total have had their very clean and precise hands involved in this. A super big shout out to, you'll see him connected to me. It depends. If you really look at Machine Krieger stuff, you'd know him. He goes by a product name, Maschinen Heimat.
Right.
And he's got some really cool, I should give him a plug, shouldn't I? He's got these really nifty dry rub transfers that are ultra sharp. And I helped him to get them, get the official license for them.
Yes.
So Alex Duchamp, he's a French bloke who lives in UK, and he's a genius designer, and all the help with the layout, etc. He was very, very cool in helping me get everything right. So big props to Alex. And he's a really nice bloke too. He thinks he likes my works, so he's a good bloke.
Very
But I just wanted to say that one too. It's definitely not all me, but I do only put my name on the cover though.
Yep. Hey, if you can get away with it.
No, but on the inside section, I've made sure to put. I've thanked everybody who's involved has got their names in it. Of course, it's the right thing to do.
Yep.
so if people want to order a copy, they go to Paint on Plastic. Just put that in your search engine, and it'll take you to Lincoln's very own personal website.
It doesn't go to the. Does it go to the plumbing supplies bloke anymore?
No, it doesn't go to the plumbing supply. And from there you can obviously order your copy, or as well as partake of the rest of the stuff, of all the good stuff that he's got in there as well.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much, David. I really appreciate that. And you guys, you've been awesome.
No, it's always good to have you on, mate.
It is indeed. So don't forget to go to paintonplastic.com and order your copy of this fantastic new book on Machine Krieger. And thanks very much, Links, for being with us again on the show. Let's now have a quick word from our good friend Chris Meddings.
Hi everyone, it's Chris again with my other hat on as owner of Inside the Armour Publications. As many of you have heard from my adverts on all the podcasts recently, I've published a book called Models for Ukraine, where all of the profits are being donated to the Disasters Emergency Committee Appeal for Ukraine to get humanitarian aid to people having to suffer this awful war. Already 90% of the books are sold, and over £16,000 has been raised and donated to the Disasters Emergency Committee Ukraine Appeal. However, there are still some books left, and we can raise even more money for this wonderful charity. Please go to InsideTheArmour.com to order direct, or if you're in the EU, you can order from robbiemodelbau.nl. That's ROBIMODELBOUW.nl. You can also order from Bookworld Wholesale, that's bookworldws.co.uk. And when you order, you can choose from a huge range of other books they stock on modelling, aviation, maritime, automotive, and all kinds of military subjects as well. Alternatively, you can order from Froome Model Centre. That's FROMEMODELCENTRE.com. where you can also pick up on their huge range of paints and kits, including the fantastic fine mould kits. You can also get it from starlingmodels.co.uk. That's starling-models.co.uk. Starling are probably the best supplier of 1700 ship kits, accessories and other details in the UK, and really I can't recommend them enough. The service is superb. You can also get the book from Guideline Publications, that's all one word, .co.uk, where you can also pick up on their excellent range of books and magazines, including Military Modelcraft International, Scale Aircraft Modelling and Fantasy Figures International, superb titles. Or you can find the book on eBay from my own store, ITA Discounts, or from Frome Model Centre's store. Thank you again for supporting this project, and a special thank you to all the companies that are selling the book and not taking a penny in return, but instead donating all the profits to the project. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Okay, we're back, and let's have a look at what is new in the hobby world. We've got a email, of course, from the Falcon, and I'm just going to dive in and find it. Here we go. And the Falcon writes in. He says, "Hi, Dave, Ian, and Julian. Aircraft news. A while back, Stransky Kits announced they would be releasing a 1/144th scale kit of the the LA-7.
The Lavochkin.
There you go. The Mill Mi-2 helicopter and the Piper L4 Grasshopper. These kits will now be released by Mark 1 models, so look out for them soon. Interestingly enough, all three of these kits are on the same sprue frame, and someone at Mark 1 will have to sit there and snip the sprues into three. Let's hope the kits are up into the right boxes." Gee, that's interesting, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Hobby Boss will release a new version of their 1/48th scale Warthog. This time round, we'll be getting a Fairchild Republic A10C. It should be released in June 2022. AV Models 72nd scale
Kawanishi.
E7K. The Alpha is now available, and there are going to be 4 boxing versions. There's going to be the E7K2 Carrier Observers, the E7K2 Shore Base Units, E7K1 Alpha in Camouflage, and the last one being the Alpha in Silver. I may be wrong, but I think this is the first kit of the radial engined ECK2 in injected plastic.
E7K2.
Thank you.
Don't know where the C came from.
I don't know either. Hasegawa kitted out the E7K1 with the inline engine many years ago, but it has its share of problems, and you would think in 2022 the kit would be an improvement. Border Models 32nd scale Avro Lancaster is now on sale. At least in Hong Kong it is. Not sure if retailers in other countries are willing to take the risk yet. Still going to be an interesting discussion, that one, moving forward, I dare say. Gas Patch Models have made available what is more or less an accessory for their 48 scale ME163 Comet. It is a 3D printed kit of the
Shoe Schlepper.
tow and recovery vehicle. The Shoe Schlepper comes with a driver figure, and honestly, hand on heart, I didn't include this just so I could get you to say the
Shoe Schlepper.
3 times. Thanks, Aaron.
If you say it 3 times in a row, it'll appear.
Military models, in what I know will be particularly exciting news for David. Tacom have announced a 1/16 scale kit of the M550 A1 Ontos. I hate the Ontos. What a stupid design it is. The kit comes with an interior, so it will make some dioramas of the crew exiting the vehicle to reload the weapons that much easier. The dumbest idea ever for an armoured vehicle. I'll give you that tip right now. Tacom have also announced a 1/35th scale
Versuchsträger
VT-1-2. There are only 2 of these Cold War era German twin barrel tank destroyers made, and of course it never went into service. Seems a strange choice of subject for Tacom, but apparently it is prominent in an online game. We're starting to see quite a few kits of things mostly known about by their appearance in video games, maybe they'll finally get that kit of the pong paddle that I've always wanted. What's the pong paddle?
I've no idea.
Amusing Hobbies will increase their range of 1/35th scale T72s with a T72 Ural, which will come with a full interior. Copper State Models have shown CAD renders for the upcoming 1/35th scale release of a 1917 Erhard Strassenpanzerwagen. Did I get that one right?
Oh, I think you got it.
Looks like this one will be a bit larger than the previous CSM armoured car kits, and it will be an impressive model.
My word, it will.
Vespid Models will be releasing a couple of 1/72nd scale Panthers, the Panzer Os F 75mm L70 and a Panther Os FG 20mm Flakverling Uff Fahrgewestel. I got that one right.
Fagerstell.
Oh, I think I got that one right. Must not be too many Panther variants left for Vespid to do. I Love Kit have announced a 1/16th scale M4A 3E8 medium tank early version, which is an Easy 8 Sherman.
I think that's the one they've done in conjunction with Andy's Hobbies headquarters.
I think it may well be. The kit will include metal barrels for the main armament machine guns, photo etch and 3D printed parts. The poster was a bit low res, so I couldn't quite make out what the 3D printed parts were. Possibly these are going to be tied downs. And you also get a tank figure as well. We also saw the box art, which, well, wasn't universally acclaimed. Let's just say people are hoping the box art doesn't accurately reflect what comes in the box. And again, I just have to say, the proliferation of 1/16th scale kits now is just staggering. There's so many people bringing them out in that scale. Trumpeter have announced a 1/35th scale kit of the Object 490B. It's hard to describe what it is. Lots of tracks, a big gun. It's just weird. Get Ian to Google it and to give you his take.
All right, I will. Let's just quickly Google this. So it's...
And in the meantime, while Ian's looking for that, Revell have announced a 1/72nd scale kit of the Leclerc T5 French main battle tank. Only box art is available at this time. IBG modelled 72nd scale Bedford QL tanker Lancer Lancer 3RO 90/50 ammunition carrier and a 40M Nimrod Hungarian self-propelled anti-aircraft gun are confirmed for release in June 2022.
Sorry, I've just seen a picture of this Object 490.
And?
Looks like something out of a Japanese anime.
Oh, okay, no worries.
It's got like, a set of tank tracks at the back and then a separate set of tank tracks at the front. It's a big wedge with a massive gun.
Very odd. I don't usually... The Falcon goes on, I don't usually include news about resin kits because I don't like to encourage that sort of thing, but I noticed the International Models Asia are back with a new 35th scale kit of the British A43 Black Prince tank.
Oh, cool.
An injection styrene 72nd scale Black Prince was announced in March by Triumph Model, but many have lamented that it wasn't in 35th scale. While the IMA kit may not be styrene, but it is 35th scale, and it sure beats building one from scratch.
Geez, it'd be worth a few biggies.
Oh, it wouldn't be cheap. Dashwork have announced a 1/35th scale US 155mm howitzer, the M1918. This is the version used by the Marine Corps. It has a flat gun shield and pneumatic ties typical of US Marine Corps guns. The model can be built in towed or firing configuration. 2 types of ammo and loading rammers are provided. You also get ammunition crates and shell handling cradle. There are 3 marking options for both pre-war and World War II guns. Depending on where you live, it will be available around June 2022.
Very cool. I'll definitely have to keep my eye on that one.
AFV Club have shown a video of what looks to be a new addition to their range of 35th scale Churchill tanks. It is a Churchill Mark IV AVRE with the SPG bridge. The video shows that the bridge is workable with the operating ropes and pulleys. There'll be plenty of play value with this one. Be warned though, it will take up a lot of space in the display cabinet and will no doubt be very expensive. But we're starting to get used to that now, aren't we, as modelers? Naval news. The best-selling song featuring a naval theme was In the Navy by the popular all-male disco group The Village People. Released in March 1979, the song was a worldwide hit, selling over 2 million copies. The US Navy contacted The Village People to acquire the rights to use the song in recruitment advertising. The writers let the US Navy use the song for free in exchange for allowing the group to film a video clip on a naval vessel, the Knox-class frigate USS Resona. In the end, the Navy decided not to use the song. We can all wonder why. So no, I didn't come across any actual naval kit news, but I hope the above was some compensation. It might be even be an inspiration for a model. Orange Hobby do the 1/350 scale Knox frigate, and you could 3D print the Village People. That's it from now from the Falcon. Well, he's a bit of a funny chap, isn't he?
He's a strange lad.
Trying to be a bit amusing, yeah. All right, let's perhaps have a look at what people have written in with us about, and we have some news from IPMS Hamilton. Hello, podcasters. You're receiving this email because the podfather, Dave Goldfinch from On the Bench Podcasters, invited your podcast to participate in the 4th Annual International Scale Model Podcast Build Challenge known as the Mooseroot Cup. So what they're now doing is there's going to be all the podcasts that are going to be participating, which is going to be us on the bench, of course, Scale Model Podcast, Plastic Model Mojo, Plastic Posse, Model Geeks, Just Making Conversation, Sprue Cutters Union, I know that they're hanging out for it, Small Subjects Podcast, and also Built Sideways. IPMS Hamilton, which is the official sponsor, have endeavoured to come up with a challenge build that we hope will be suitable for all genres and styles of the podcast to promote. And this year, with the continued support from Lightspeed Global Distributing, we have come up with a challenge that all our competitors should be able to complete with a minimum of fuss, sacrifice, or bloodletting. More information is going to be forthcoming on this soon, and that comes from the Chief Contest Judge, which is Ian Fraser.
Cool.
So looking forward to what that's going to
So
be.
I wonder what I'm going to be building.
You're the one up for it.
Yeah.
I still need to submit your name yet.
That's okay. Do it.
Andrew Armstrong rocks in. Hello, benchers, geeks, Majovians, the posse, and you guys up in Canada. Just want to thank all of you guys for what you're doing. I've written to all of you at some point or another over the last few years. I got back into modelling in 2018. I'm a bit of a slow builder and an okay one. I don't model as much as I'd like, but being able to listen to you talk about scratches the model itch. I found On the Bench first, which led me to the other modelling podcasts, and I've been with you all since the very humble beginnings. The way you guys talk about the hobby, your interviews to people in and around the hobby, and the camaraderie between all the podcasts really makes me feel part of the group. He just goes on to say that he can't make it to Omaha, but the reason I'm even thinking about it is because of the way you talked about the Vegas show and how stoked you all are for this year. I'm bummed I'm going to be missing out, but can't wait to hear the stories and see the pictures. My modelling has improved drastically over the past 3 years, and I credit the podcasts. If I didn't learn the technique or trick from listening to you, I learned it from a YouTube channel or Facebook post that I heard about on the podcast. Thanks, guys. Have fun at Nats this year, and your efforts add to the hobby can't be understated. That's Andrew Armstrong from Centrepoint in New York.
Thank you for the kind words, Andrew.
A lot of people write in saying how much they've enjoyed the podcast and how it sort of, helped, helped them through. And it's just really, really pleasing that, we're playing a small part in it. Ryan Hothersall writes in, listening to Julian's comments about airbrushes, what do you consider as cheap? I hope he was not referring to single action brushes such as Pash, as Pash was mentioned, and I consider them as good, simple airbrush that is easy to clean out when it clogs up. What do you reckon, Julian?
I'm not against single action airbrushes. There's a lot. You can get those really short, stubby looking ones.
Yeah, they're quite good.
And they're quite cheap. Yeah. I mean, they're obviously lacking in that they don't have the extra action, so to speak.
Well, it's actually a PASH siphon feed that single action was what I first started with. And that sort of got me into airbrushes.
I think my first one was a Badger siphon feed.
Yeah.
But
And-
yeah, the current ones that you can find, those short, stubby, single action ones, they're quite easy to clean out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, you can paint to some degree of detail with them. You won't get as right in there as say the kind of thing we use, the $500-ish range Iwata 0.18 needle kind of thing, but you can still do plenty of priming and general paint type stuff with them.
100%.
I wouldn't discount a single action airbrush just because it's single action.
No, that's right. Yeah.
No, 100%. Craig Stanley writes in, "Hey gents, thanks for the great podcast. Your banter is always worth a laugh. In your latest episode, number 137, Julian was talking about trying to flog off a partially built car model, and someone asked a question, what sort of weirdo buys a partially built kit? That was me who said that. Well, I'm one of those weirdos. For most genres, I would probably agree with you, but not when it comes to ships. You would be surprised by the number of ships that get sold for a song with only the hull glued together.
Correct.
For example, I picked up a Trumpeter 1/350 scale HMS Queen Elizabeth 1943 for $30, and a Trumpeter 1/35 scale
350.
1/350 scale Utilloy, I should say, Admiral Patelev for only $20. Besides the hull halves being glued together, all the sprues were still sealed, and the Utilloy even had white ensign PE detail set included.
Gee, that's a good bargain.
Considering the price of new ship kits, buying them second-hand means I can afford all the aftermarket bits and bobs without having to sell the kids for medical experiments. Keep up the good work. That's cheers from Craig Stanley in Canberra. Yeah, there is a bit to say if you do actually buy second-hand and, they are partially built. I could perhaps see myself doing it for a genre that I'm comfortable with, such as ships, but aircraft, I don't know, or maybe armour as well. I could do that.
With me, it depends how far it's gone along.
And how many mistakes they've made in gluing it together as well.
Well, that too, yeah, because that's usually the point. What I find is when you look at some of these kits that are started, the reason they're selling them off is because they've done a major stuff up somewhere.
At least with the ship hulls, if there's, lots of glue and stuff on that, you can sand that off without sort of losing any real detail.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But, when you come to aircraft and armour and that, I think you're a bit more restricted. I don't know about cars, Julian. What do you reckon on that?
I will admit I wasn't paying attention from there.
We're talking about buying kits that are already
partially
built. Yeah,
it's funny you mentioned that because, I've got a kit that I was about to throw in the bin, and one of the guys at the club was like, "Oh, if you're going to throw it in the bin, I'm going to take it and sell it at Model Expo."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's going to take it from you and sell it at Model Expo.
He's just going to save it from the bin because I would have just thrown it in the bin right there. The aftermarket body kit that I bought for it did not fit it at all, and I'd already glued a bunch of it together, so I couldn't go back to doing it stock.
Yeah.
It's like, nah.
Nah, see you later.
GG.
Yep.
Good game. Thanks for playing. Life's too short for that. I'm not gonna waste my time dealing with
No,
it.
very true.
Yeah, it is indeed. All right, well, that's it for the mailbag. And of course, if you want to write into us, you can. Our email address is onthebench64@gmail.com. Love hearing from you, so please write in and we will read it out on the show. Some modelling competition news, of course. In 33 days' time, we have Model Expo 2022 down here in Melbourne. The Australian Open Plastic and Scale Model Championships, 17th to the 19th of June, held at the Sandown Course Racetrack. So please drop on and have a look at their website. There's
been some major changes.
Yeah, so this year's seen some changes to the way you enter models. The old system of scrutineering has been dropped, and it is now the responsibility of the entrant to actually assign the model to the correct category. So that's an interesting change.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Need to have one of the guys back on again in the next show, just before the actual show kicks off, to talk about that in more detail.
Yep.
So, if you're anywhere in Australia, certainly if you're in South Australia, Tasmania, New South Wales, it's only a 8-hour drive down. So make sure you jump in the car and come across and enter. And, of course, everybody who is in the lovely state of Victoria, don't forget, we will be seeing you there. Of course, we'll be there,
We'll be
recording.
there. Yes, we will.
In other news, IPMS USA for the big show, which is going to be modelling the Arsenal of Democracy in Omaha, Nebraska. 66 days to go. And we're all locked and loaded for that one as well. And we can't wait to get there.
Definitely.
I'm quite sure if we're going to do any recording it over there. I think we might. I've just got to figure out how many microphones to take with me and all the rest of that sort of junk.
Yeah.
So we'll be thinking about that one. But the exciting part is we're spending a couple of days in Hawaii first, checking out all the museums there, and then on to the model show, and then on to DC, which will be a lot of fun as well.
Smithsonian Air and Space Museum.
100%. All right, I think that's about it. That bringing us up to the nearly 2-hour mark. Have you guys got anything you want to get off your chest before we sign off?
No, the rest of my day is going to be spent woodworking.
Oh, that's right. You're building
I've got to build my travel box for the USS England so I can get that safely to America.
Very good.
Because, lots of fragile little bits hanging off that.
Did you see that picture I sent you about the guy who built a travel box for his ship?
with the Perspex top.
Yeah, so that the security guys can see what's inside it.
Yeah. I was thinking about doing the same, but having a side panel in
wouldn't you... how annoyed would you be if you still had to remove it because they thought there might be something stashed inside the ship?
Well, it'll go through
an
X-ray, yeah.
It'll go through X-ray.
Okay.
And the way you're going to design it, it's just slide in, slide out.
Yeah, I'm like making these little triangular slots. Well, not slots, like sleeves that go on either side of the inside of the box to go onto the base. And it's going to basically just clamp the base to the actual box itself.
Very
so
cool.
you can put it upside down on its side and it's just going to stay still.
Very cool. All right, gents. Well, I think that's about it then.
It is, yes. We've had a great chat. Great chat with Lincoln.
Yeah,
always great
fantastic.
to chat with him. Great bloke.
Whether you build aircraft, armour, ships, science fiction, cars or figures, the Fine Scale Modeller magazine provides the how-to information you need to take your modelling to the next level. In each issue of Fine Scale Modeller, you'll find clear how-to features on model assembly and finishing written by experts, reviews of the hottest model kits and products, tips and techniques for assembling, painting and finishing, as well as inspiring photos of readers' models. To find out how you can get your copy of Fine Scale Modeller, go to www.finescale.com. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our wonderful Patreon supporters. Without your support, we could not do this show. If you would like to help and be part of the team, you can do so by going to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from $1 per month upwards. Your support is greatly appreciated and helps us with our publishing and hosting costs. As well as that, there's a host of other fantastic podcasts to listen to. For the full listing of all the other model podcasts that are available for you to listen to, go to modelpodcasts.com. So I'll see everybody in a fortnight.
You will.
In a fortnight then.
No worries. Adios.
Bye.
Bye-bye.